Yo, 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 everybody, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of the What Now podcast. We got Spencer and Zach today. I'm really excited about this episode, honestly. It's been a while since we've had our DOLOCAST, and
Has been a bit.
it's been a while since we've done a DOLOCAST, and a lot of our feedback is everybody really likes our DOLOCasts. Thanks for listening to us yap. But what's up, Zach?
The Yap duo.
Yes, the Yap Attack. Yeah. Where we just talk about like White Monster and the gym. What's up, bro? How are you? Good to see you.
I'm good, man. I apologize to anyone listening. I decided to run in the 30-degree weather this morning in Texas, and the lungs were not ready for that. So my voice is raspy.
As of today, December 3rd, 2024. How time has flown. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Truly.
I can't believe that, like, it really is, like, 2024 is already almost done. In our office, we're taking a week and a half-ish off for Christmas/New Year's because everyone is gone. Everyone is booked up for the holiday, and honestly, you deserve it. I think that your practice members/patients, whatever you want to call them, will appreciate it. Like, they understand that, you deserve a break as well, and so, we really only have, like, 2 weeks left of our year. Zach, what are some things, we were just talking about this, but like, what are some things that you are doing as you're wrapping up the year? And then really, I think my other question that we were talking about before we record was, what are some of the things that you're going to change/look to implement in the new year?
Yeah, which is super important. I do like what Austin Cohen said is that our latest episode? About like how this should be more of a conversation in October. But a few things, I don't know if we're necessarily changing, but we're definitely implementing, is I'm taking a kind of like 3-prong approach to the infrastructure of the practice, if you will. So what I mean by that is like external marketing wise, I'm really doubling down on Donald Miller and like the story brand and implementing a lot of what he talks about and how to grow your small business.
I love that.
And then from an internal marketing approach, really implementing Joey Coleman, I think is the author of Never Lose a Customer Again. I've been really working on retention. And then from like a systems and infrastructure approach, really, we've kind of like, for lack of better words, like half-assed our way through like a traction EOS type business model. And so now, like, just kind of like, yeah, we have rocks and we have level 10 weekly meetings, and
they're not level 10. Let's be
real. And so really doubling down on that. So those are the big 3 things that I'm looking to implement, and I'm already starting to add in. One thing we did, like from an internal retention, we were only open the Monday of Thanksgiving and then went on an awesome vacation. But that Monday, saw a little over like 70 patients, and we gave all of them a pumpkin pie.
Dang. Yeah, that's a lot of pies.
So we gave out, I think we gave out like 65 pies just because the few families we take care of. But it was awesome. I mean, Costco pumpkin pie, we threw a sticker on it, and they loved it. They all came in this week, and they've been like, man, that pie was so good.
That's good. That's great.
So,
yeah, I think
small things like that.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like, whenever you say that, I mean, those are like really, we're about to have our yearly planning meeting, and Caitlin and I are going on our couples planning meeting, like where we're going to go and sit down and talk as a family and stuff and say like, hey, this is what we're trying to work toward. And, since we work together, this is our plan for our business as well. And, we're really like taking kind of that same 3-prong approach. I mean, I think that, you don't have to think about it of internal, external marketing. You can think of, my brand, my customer service, and my systems, right? I mean, like, dude, that's everything. And I'm a huge, huge fan of Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. I love all of Donald Miller's stuff. It helps. He was a Christian author before, which is crazy. But I love Donald Miller and all of his things. I think he makes everything really simple. That's why his company is called Made Simple.
Yeah.
And so he does business made simple, marketing made simple, all that stuff. Building a Story Brand is like a phenomenal book. Love it.
Yeah. And I love what he, like, very open. I know I've said this quote before, but like in the opening of How to Grow Your Small Business, he's like, one day I woke up and someone asked me like, how's your business going? And it was the first time I realized like I was just kind of just doing a business and like working a job, and it was time to take it professional. And that's very much how I feel like leading into 2025. It's time to get professional.
Yeah, totally. I think that, in terms of customer service, how you're doing, never lose a customer again. we're really implementing a lot of the theories and concepts from Unreasonable Hospitality. I love that. And if you guys haven't taken Callan's AI course, one, go listen to our episode with Callan on how to use AI for your business. But two, it's really cool because in Callan's AI for chiropractors, she has like a consultant that you can build. And I uploaded our customer service consultant with a copy of Unreasonable Hospitality. And so then based off of that, I just talk back and forth with the chatbot, and it's saying, okay, well, based off of what you're saying, you want your strategy to be around hospitality, all these books, this is how you can implement a lot of these things. And then same thing with StoryBrand. We have one for that. And then I have a traction copy uploaded in that. And then it's like our EOS business coach. So we talk about our systems, we talk about our meetings and all those things. And it's really cool, dude. So like, that's a great program. And so for all you guys who aren't listening or who are listening and haven't implemented a lot of this AI stuff, I highly recommend it because it just takes a lot of the thinking and a lot of the, it just like works out all the kinks for you, dude. Like, why would you not just want to get answers and actionable steps like right away? And, instead of having to mull over it like for 3 weeks. But what I'd want to get to, Zach, is what we were talking about before we hit record. What is the one thing that you are subtracting from your office? I think it was great what you said about your practice. But I think Antonio from the GFG Solutions team, I follow him. He has a podcast called Consistency Wins. It's about finance and tax strategy and stuff. But he posted a thing, it was like reposted a thing, whatever, but it just said subtraction is the art of the successful. And so it's like actually becoming successful is doing less of different things and just doing the one thing or the few things that are truly impactful, like really well. So, but anyway, talk to everybody about what you said about your practice, like what you're changing going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's something, we've talked in length a couple times on our DOLOCAST, or maybe not. I don't know. Gotta go back and listen.
I think we just kind of mentioned it.
But we're stepping away from the discounted practice. So like a big thing in this year or like end of 2023 that we implemented was for a long time, and I did not recommend this at all. But for like our first probably like first 9 to 12 months we were open, for say, Spencer, you came into our practice and started care, your wife, Caitlin, would get 50% off her care plan, and quickly realized that was not great. But we continued doing our Facebook ads, which I think there's a way to do Facebook ads without doing the discount. But we were still doing like $29, $35, $47 for our initial exam. And we just stopped in November. And our plan is to really just embrace full priced exam, adjustment fees, raising fees in some instances, and no longer being that, like, I don't think we're looked at as the discounted office in Colleyville, but really taking that as like okay, people get really great results here and they pay the price for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing when you start that conversation is you have to identify where on the pricing spectrum are you going to fall. And this is like one of the first concepts in $100 million offers by Alex Hormozy. And you can be the cheapest, you can be the middle, and you can be the premium. And I forget like where somebody said something, like who said it or whatever, but there's a quote floating in the ether somewhere out there that just says like death happens in the middle. Because like if you're not the most expensive, then you're not the most valuable. And if you're not the cheapest, then you're too expensive to be the cheapest. Like you're just like in this like weird middle ground, and you have to figure out like where's your demographic at. Are you going to be and it's dependent on like what you charge and everything. And like, we really said that, like, I had to come to terms with the fact of like, dude, we are not the office for everyone. Like, think about that like really, really, really hard. And it's like a thing I think that we have to, as practitioners, we have to wrestle with, because, we want to serve everyone, like give, love, serve. And, as chiropractors, we want anyone with a spine to get adjusted and stuff. And that's true. I do want anyone with the nervous system to be adjusted, but not everyone with the nervous system has to be adjusted by me. Right. And like wrestling with that, you have to like really, I think I gained a lot of peace in our practice with actually when we started turning people away. When people were saying, hey, that's too expensive. Your $200 initial visit is too expensive for us. And we're like, okay, that's good, because like it's not that we don't want people to come in, but it's like, it's better for them if they are turned away by our initial pricing because they're going to be like, well, that's too expensive for me to start. And so why would I waste 2 days, a day 1 and a day 2, 2 hours with someone, or an hour, however long you take? Why would you waste your time with someone who already knows that they're not going to sign up for care? It tanks your team morale. It tanks your morale, and then it tanks their morale too, because then they think, okay, well, I'm trying to get this solution for my back pain or my infertility or my kid's ear infections or whatever. And I went through all of this just to not be able to afford it. And so like for people who like don't bat an eye at whatever price you put, then like, okay, that's good. That means that they are in the financial demographic, the socioeconomic, whatever category that is going to fit best into your practice.
I think too, what really like stuck out to me was one of the coaching calls with Nikki and Steph, and I don't know which of them said it, but just how it's kind of confusing in like the chiropractic world compared to other medical practices or other health professionals.
Yeah.
The first visit everywhere else is the most expensive, right? And so it's strange that looking back on, it's like, oh yeah, like come in for $29 and then here's a $1,500 care plan. It's like, whoa. Like I would think from the consumer standpoint, be like, dang, okay.
Yeah, like I think that it's okay to run a special to your email list that has been like on your list for forever. Like, okay, it was just Black Friday. How many things did you just buy on Black Friday that mailed you, or you saw their Instagram ad for stuff that you like never even thought about? Like, like we're getting ads for like, dude, Black Friday special on a blender or something like that. It's like, dude, I don't need a blender. Like, that's cool that it's off. That's great. But if you give me a coupon for $100 off of a blender, I'm not going to go and buy it because I'm not actively searching for it. Whereas in, Caitlin and I just bought the Freak Athlete bench, like that turns into the GHD and the leg developer and stuff. And they just ran a special for $400 off. And I'd been looking at getting it. And I got that email that it's like, hey, our Black Friday thing, it's $400 off. And I was like, well, we got to buy it now because it's $400 off. This is a good deal, which I should have bought it a couple months ago because it was $800 instead of the $1,200 that I paid for it, $400 off. Anyway, but like that prompted me to take action because it's been like, I've been looking for this and I've been waiting, but I just never pulled the trigger. And this incentivizes me. The scarcity of, hey, this is only going on this week nudged me to pull the trigger on it. So like for those kind of things, like going into your email list saying like, hey, I have $50 off for Black Friday on initial exams. If you guys have been thinking about getting in, but you haven't taken action, like we're here to help you out. And so here's $50 off your exam. But instead of posting on social media being like $47 new patient holiday special, like people aren't looking for that on Instagram. People are looking at their family, at their kids. They're looking at reels to see like people saying they're a chill guy and they just want to eat turkey on Thanksgiving or something like that, Like,
we definitely, I would say, had some success with Facebook ads. And I know there's practices that do really well with it. I just think it got us into a not rough spot by no means, but it just put us in a very interesting position where I just don't know if the value was kind of equated the same.
Dude, I think that Facebook ads are really great if you have everything else set up. If you have your internal referrals on lock.
Exactly.
If you have your organic social media leads and your organic community leads on lock. If you have your Google ads and your SEO on lock. Like, do you get good traffic to your website? Do you get good Google ad results, right? Because like Google ads, those are people like Jeremy said, like, that are actively looking for your services. Versus like a billboard. How many times have you like called a number off of a billboard being like, that's what I need?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm sure someone has, but like rarely, right? Versus how many times did you like go to the place that you Googled? All the time. Like we were just looking for a vet and we Googled the vet and had the best results. It came up first on the SEO and we're like, that's where we're going to go. So like if your Google ads are unlocked, then I think it's good for you to run Facebook ads because now you're everywhere. You're omnipresent. Your brand is everywhere.
Right.
And I think it's great to do that if you have the extra marketing budget to do it. But I think to like start off on Facebook ads, I think it's like putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's definitely something, because I would spend majority of my time, because the truth is nowadays with Facebook ads, it's not just like a still picture of you adjusting the thoracic spine. Like you gotta have really great copy or content. And so lunch breaks, rather than meeting referral partners or, working on the business, it was, okay, we got to film this new ad because the one we filmed 2 weeks ago sucked. And then it was just like this constant hamster wheel.
Yeah, and
it got really tiring for me and the staff. And I didn't spend the last year building relationships with strategic partners or community outreach or those type of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Facebook ads are really the next tool for really well-established practices. Like, I think like for us, we'll start running Facebook ads when we're like 5 years in, because like we'll have all of the community rep, we'll have a lot of patient testimonials, we'll have a lot of reviews, like a lot more, like then like that just kind of like really amplifies everything. Like I think like the Facebook ads are really like the icing on the cake. But like if you ain't bake a cake, then like you got nothing to ice, right? And so like you gotta, that's the end. That's like the like filling in all the gaps, like coloring in all the little nooks and crannies and stuff. And I think that it just gets really inefficient and really expensive when you're a new practice with no reputation or little reputation and stuff like that.
And
I mean, I think too, like this is just me like putting it out there. I think if you're a new practice and you say like, oh, dude, I think that I have the best reputation in the world, but you're not getting like 100 leads organically a month, then I really think that you don't have that great of a reputation. Like I was saying that like, dude, like we are the premier pediatric office in this area. And like, I look at our leads and like, we're getting like 30 calls a month. And it's like, that's cool. But like, there's 20,000 people in this town and only 30 of them are calling me a month. Like, that's not like, I'm not the GOAT.
Right.
We got to take a step back and be like, I really do have some work to do. It's great to like kind of like look back and say like, wow, we've grown so much and I'm really proud of all these things that we built. But it's also important, I think, to say like, okay, how much more potential do we have? Like, and I think that saying like, dude, we're the GOAT and you start running Facebook ads and stuff, like,
I think that's something we have found once we implemented. That was a big thing we implemented this year was a weekly newsletter. And I know it's something you have as well.
Dude, I love my newsletter.
And so talking with the team over at Patch, with Jeremy, is he foresees and kind of, if you, at least the way I've kind of consumed social media and like the ads that I get, seems like a lot of people are moving, not a lot, but kind of the ones I look at are moving towards more of a lead magnet. And so we're in the development of specific lead magnets that will just basically put people on our email and newsletter list.
Yeah, dude, you got to give people value, bro. Like, I mean, the whole reason that you're friends with people and you keep people in your life is because they give you value, right? Like, we talk consistently because, like, we always have something constructive to talk about, right? And we have the same values. And, like, but I mean, a lot of times, like, as you're growing up, you're like, dude, why am I still hanging out with this person? So, like, it's the same thing, dude. I, like, scroll through my Instagram all the time and I'm like, why am I still following this person? Like, I'm not. Like, why am I still following like the CrossFit jump rope brand? Like, I'm not doing CrossFit anymore and I have a jump rope. So like, I don't have any need like to do this. So I unfollow them, right? So it's the same thing like with your audience. And with the newsletter, like people really just want to get to know you in the newsletter. It's a great way to do that. Like I write my newsletters myself in my tone of voice and stuff. Like literally just like, yo, this is Spencer. Like, what's up? How's your kid and everything? Like,
his voice gets deeper with the newsletter.
Yeah. And I mean, dude, I get a lot of, surprisingly, and it always just makes me feel good when I get people that reply to my email. Like, that's always the coolest feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're starting to have people sign up for the newsletter that aren't our patients. And then whenever they do eventually come in, they're like, oh, yeah, I was reading your newsletter. And I was like, that's when I need I need that. And we're like, oh, okay, good. Like, that's cool. So all that to say, I think that's definitely the best way at this point in our stage of practice, like where you're going to get the most leverage for the best efficient use of your dollars. Whereas running a $47 new patient special to try to get people who really don't care about your stuff and they just signed up because it was cheap onto your thing, like it's a good way to generate leads and interest and stuff. But I think like $47 in a free back pain exercise guide is just as valuable, if not more.
Yeah. And I think it's funny looking back, like the exhilaration, because I'd get like a text of like new lead. And like when we were running ads and I would go like 2 days without getting a new lead, I'm like, shit, like our new ad sucks or whatever. And so it's just like from a mental capacity, it's helped immensely as well.
Yeah, dude, consistency wins, bro. And like, I mean, I think for the mindset part too, bro, like if you're processing all of these people and everybody is saying it's too expensive. It's too expensive. Or they no-show because they're like, I really didn't care that much. What that does to your mental state and like your
Yep.
mindset is what that tells you is that people are not willing to commit to me, and people don't think that I'm valuable enough. It's not that you're not valuable and people aren't willing to commit to you, is that you're asking the wrong people to come in and you're placing improper expectations on people, right? So I would rather have one person that's willing to pay $200 for an exam than 4 people that are willing to pay $50 for the exam. Because the odds of that one person signing on the care and valuing what I do and then referring their friends in is way higher than those 4 people for $50.
Yep.
And
so kind of move full circle, like we've already started, but we'll like be full time, no more discounted.
well, so you won't offer any discount, nothing.
I mean, maybe like a special time, like maybe 50% off. Now we do, and I stole this from a friend of mine, but we send a thank you card. I've been sending thank you cards to every new patient that signs on since we basically started. And again, super discounted. I would send a free voucher for a new patient exam. I'd send 2 of them, and there was no expiration date. So like we'd have someone come in like a year later and they're like, I got my free voucher. And I'm like, okay, nice. But now we send out like 40% off their initial exam. And expires in 21 days. So, and we're already starting to see that start to roll into, which has been great. But so I guess that's the only discount we'll have.
Nice. Yeah. I think the only thing that we ever discount is if like a family is like, say, bringing in 5 people. We've had this a lot recently. We'll just do, hey, the last person, like we'll charge them for 4 full price exams. And we'll like, hey, as a gift to you, we're going to do the 5th one for half off.
Nice.
And like just unexpectedly, we won't tell them and stuff. And they're like, oh, that's really nice.
Right.
Or like if it's been like this one kid who's been like really consistently under care and their parents are like, hey, I want to book. And they book a visit. We do the whole shebang and stuff like that. When they go to pay for their initial visit, we'll just be like, hey, like we would love taking care of you. We're just going to charge you for the scans today. And like we'll just randomly throw that out and we won't tell them about it. And that I feel like generates a lot of goodwill toward people. People are always really appreciative of it, and you already know that they're like great clients of yours and you love taking care of them. And so the odds of them signing on to care is a lot higher anyway. And then it's just like another like nice little thing. But I think instead of discounting, what's like the mindset that we took around like discounting our practice versus charging a premium is that when we charge a premium, we have more of a profit margin. And with that profit margin, what we can do is then give that money back to our people by hosting cool events, like all those kind of things. When I was doing a really big discount, because I used to do that too, like first family member pays, if you pay in full, you get 20% off. And then if you sign on another family member, then they get 20% off plus another 30% off for being, which is a total of like 50% off. And I was doing everything like at cost. And I was like, man, I have no money and I'm stressed. Versus when we said, okay, like we're not going to discount anymore. What we started doing is we say, okay, we're going to charge everybody full price, but now everybody gets a card whenever they sign on for care. Everybody gets a cookie for whenever it's their birthday month. Anybody that leaves a review gets a free t-shirt. We just get random stuff at the office all the time. We'll get Element Pack, like an extra box of Element, or we'll get like some new protein powder that everybody's asking us about. And we'll just buy a bunch of those and give those out for free, quote as samples. And then, we will open up a coffee shop tab for like $300 or $500 and say, hey, everybody, if you follow us, go to the coffee shop, get a coffee on us. We paid for the police station, the whole police station to do pictures with Santa with their kids. And so but that comes with charging a premium, and you get to do all those cool things whenever you actually have the money to do it. So like making more money does not mean that you are taking more money from people. It's that you're saying, hey, I'm going to use these dollars to give back to you and to create an awesome experience and not just crack your back, but also, make your life better. So yeah, I mean, I think that charging full price is the way to go, and full price doesn't need to be dollars on I guess it depends on your market and stuff, but I think that you need to calculate your stop loss and say like, what's the minimum that I need to charge, and charge at least double that.
100%. I think you're spot on. What are you planning to do
Dude, I think we are going to actually, I've only talked to Steph about this, but so I guess now everyone in the world will hear it, but I think we're going to start moving toward the 1-day report. where no more day twos, because we're running into capacity issues. And so we can't hire another doctor, and we have to turn a lot of people away, or they have to wait for a really long time to get in. That's because like it takes people 2 days to get in, right? So like one new patient takes up 2 hours out of our schedule in the week. And I don't want to cut down. It was either take out a day or shorten those visits a lot. And I like the committed, focused time that I have with someone, that I don't have to worry about like, oh, I have to get out of here and adjust somebody because I only have 15 minutes with you or 20 minutes with you. I like to really sit down and be able to like really answer everyone's questions and connect with them. And so I didn't want to shorten our new patient process from the hour that we do to 20 minutes or something like that. And so we have to figure out a way how can we see people more efficiently. And that would be either to hire another doctor, but right now we're really struggling to find a bigger space to house another doctor.
Right.
Or take out a day. And so right now the answer is to take out a day. And so that is a big workshop job, because I don't know how we're going to do that, but we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I know. I mean, being in that multi-practitioner space, it seems like people that have switched love it. I know Morgan and Hannah, when they made the switch, it was really great for them. I don't know. I've had a tough time thinking of moving to a day, full day one process.
For you, doing back pain and athletes and stuff, it's way easier to do it like that. Like, I mean,
no, for sure. Just like conceptualizing it in my head, because I know like the biggest thing is that like 15-minute discovery call. So that's
right, which that's like the hardest part. And so we, I don't know. We'll have to see. What we've come to realize is that it's going to take a full team effort. Like everyone has to be on board.
Yeah.
Like it can't be like right now. The way our office works is like our front office staff is like they're just there to check people in, work on the billing, take phone calls, and be like a hospitality kind of thing. And then once people are with doctor, like we'll just take care of everything else. And so we have kind of like a two-sided practice, which that's actually a really big concept in unreasonable hospitality, is how like both halves of the restaurant, the kitchen and the dining room, work together. And so we're really trying to figure out how we can do that, because it's kind of hard when you have a 20-year-old that is answering the phone that knows nothing about spinal anatomy to say like, hey, put this at L1 and make sure that you're getting, like size it to their spine and stuff like that.
Yeah. We've been training Rachel on, she's doing HRV now, which has been huge, because that's helpful. That's the one, it's the easiest, but it's the one that, like, from a connection standpoint, it could take 2 seconds to connect. And then there'd be days where I'm sitting there for
a while,
5 minutes. And so end of this month, she'll be doing EMG scans as well, which is great. So I think we'll definitely be able to transition to a day one process.
Yeah. What do you feel like, this is like on the spot, but what do you feel like is the biggest lesson or the biggest hurdle that you have conquered this year, or like in this past couple months? 2024, what was your biggest shift / change / you know what I'm saying?
I would say, and I know I can continue to work on this, but really embracing that like leader and CEO. I think for a long time it was just kind of like, we're doing this together, let's have a good time, blah, blah, blah. Where now it's like, no, we have to implement these systems. And the reason we do that isn't for me, it's not for you, it's for our patients. And if we want to grow and, live out our vision and our mission, then that's what's required of us. And so there's a lot I've had to change in myself, and just kind of accepting that radical responsibility. And there's still tons I can work on, but that's been a big one that's kind of shown through over the last several weeks, is that radical responsibility. And if it takes, getting to the office an hour early, or, working after dinner, then that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
What about you?
That's a good one. Dude, I knew you were going to ask it back. And when I asked you the question, I don't know. But as you were saying that, I think the biggest one, because, got married this year, bought a house this year, hired a bunch of people this year, grew the practice a lot this year. So just like a lot more people like in my life. And I think the biggest thing that I have learned this year as a business owner, yes, is the leadership, but in like a subset of that is that honest communication is always the right thing to do. And like, it's always better to be completely transparently honest with someone whether you're telling them, I don't know what to do with your child's case, or I understand that this is expensive. And from a business perspective, I cannot give you 50% off. Like, I've had to have that conversation with somebody. Somebody's like, yeah, like, can you just like give us like a thing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, we totally could, but that's not fair to the families that do pay full price to give you half off. It's not fair. We have a lot of so we can help you make the payments, but to give you half off because you're saying that you can't afford it when transparently you drive a new truck. Like,
It's always the case.
yeah, and like, you have to like just be really honest with people. Like, it's just not fair to everyone else that pays full price to give you half off just because you're asking, and like, that's a hard thing to do. Like, and then same thing like with your employees and your leadership. It's just saying like being able to go to someone and say, hey, I don't think that you're playing at your fullest potential. And what do we need to have a conversation around to help you get there? Like, that's a really hard thing to do, like, especially as like someone who's young and like you're figuring it out. And a couple months ago, you literally couldn't pay your own bills, and now you have people working underneath you, and like, that's a really tough place to be. And so like to have to say like, hey, I don't think that you're doing the best job. But then I think the thing that like really helps you grow in that is when you have that honest conversation and people are grateful for it. Like, you're saying like, hey, thanks. Like, I am having a rough time, and so I'm glad that you brought it up, but I was trying not to disappoint you. Or when people say like, I appreciate you telling me that I can't have a discount because like that just, you care about everybody else here. It just shows that you care, or same thing, when you're married and stuff, just saying like, hey, like, I think that we need to do this, or like just being honest with people, I think is really like, honesty really is the best policy, like in terms of leadership and self-development. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned so far. And same thing with like our coach, like, and stuff, like when we're talking with Steph and everything, like, I think it's really easy to fudge your numbers, or, when we're talking, like me and you, when we're talking, like, I appreciate our friendship a lot because like I don't feel like there's any sort of like competition that like, I think that we both want to elevate each other and we both want to do well. But I don't think that it's like, oh, dude, I have to crush Zach or like whatever, or like feel bad, like, wow, dude, Zach got 60 leads from this event and like I didn't, and all those kind of things. And so I think it's good, like, just be honest about your numbers. Like, hey, dude, we're having a down week, or hey, we're crushing it, or hey, like, I'm really having trouble with that. Like, being honest with yourself and the people who are around you, really let them kind of pour back into you. So I think that's really been the biggest lesson I think I've learned this year.
It's great. It's really good. See, there goes my cold weather voice.
People don't expect you to have it all together. People expect you to kind of have an answer, but I think that the biggest thing is that people don't expect you to have it all together. People just expect you to try your best. And you don't have to give the perfect answer, but you just have to give them the answer that you think is best, or, answer that you would give your friends and family and stuff, So yeah, what is one thing that you're excited for in this next year?
One thing I'm excited for, I would say the biggest thing that I'm excited for is really just like a full year of focus. And I loved our wedding. I loved getting married. I loved all of that. And I'm really excited. This feels like I'm going into the first year where there's not like a big life event. Like, there was engagement the year before and all of that. And so it's like, okay, stable. I like know where I live. Like, it's crazy to think like I've moved 5 times in the last 5 years. So it's like, oh, nice. Like, now I live somewhere. So I think that's like the biggest thing. I don't know if like stability is my word of the year, but just like looking at the calendar and they're like, there's open weekends.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. I think that who knows, dude, what's going to happen in 2025, because one, right now, like, I mean, you still have a whole month. Like, it's only December 3rd. Like, so you can completely change the momentum and the direction in which you head into the new year. So don't write off December. That's a big thing that Steph has been preaching.
It's actually one thing I was going to, like how you shared about like taking a week and a half off for Christmas. I am actually taking a different route because we've taken so much time off and we're going to be here. Like, my family's here, Morgan's family's here. And so I'm like, if I'm going to be here, just sitting around at home, like, what am I going to be doing? Like, I've already planned like Q1, I've already done the yearly meeting. So I'm like, all right, so we're going to be open 23rd, 26th, 27th, and not like full hours, but I'm like, I'm not going to, write off another month. And so that's like kind of my thing is like, or been my mantra is like December is going to be our best month of the year, and there's no reason it shouldn't be.
Yep, shouldn't. Right. I mean, that's what Steph says, dude. Why everybody is slowing down. Like you have the perfect opportunity to speed back up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's something that we've been going over too. Like, so we'll be open a couple days, like right after New Year's and everything, where we could take off that whole week. But it's like, dude, we'll be here. Why? Like, we're just gonna be chilling at home. Like, why would we not? Like, we're taking a week off to go back to Louisiana with my family, and so we're like, there's no reason that people can't come in. People who come in once a week can't come twice a week. That Monday, Thursday, in these 2 weeks in December. Like, so let's get them in. But yeah, dude, I think that it's gonna be crazy in 2025. 2024 is just a huge, massive year of change, and there's like only way up, right? Like, I really don't think that I really don't know if it's gonna be stable for any of us. Like, I think it's crazy, like,
Also true.
because like, dude, it's just gonna be the Wild West. Like, because I mean, dude, in 1 year, right, our second year in practice, look how much has changed. Like, what's gonna happen in the third year? What's gonna happen? This just means that we're gonna have like kids or something like that at 2025 or something. Like, who knows?
This is where Morgan should turn off the podcast. No, I'm kidding. I would love to have a kid.
Listen, I think it would be great, but who knows? Who knows, bro? We'll see. But I'm excited. The podcast, I'm super excited for too. I really want to lean in to the podcast. I think it's been really good.
Yep.
And
this is the year we go pro on the podcast.
Yeah. Zach and I have a lot planned for the podcast. So thanks to you guys who've been listening to us from day one. We really appreciate that. That's really cool of you. And it doesn't go unnoticed. And we have a lot of things planned for the What Now podcast to give you guys access to a lot of the things that we're talking about. I'm trying to give you guys some of the resources, like those kind of things. And then we're really trying to partner with a lot of the people who we've had on to get you guys access to a lot of their programs exclusively if you're a listener to the podcast. We'll see. That's all I got.
Peace.
All right. Thanks for listening to the One Now podcast, guys. Peace.